Alright, in this video we're going to review a system or mandrels and tools for making combustible paper cartridges. And this one is Guns of the West. Has a channel on YouTube. I watch a lot of his videos. And kind of with getting everyone's product to test it, I want to give everybody a fair shake. So I went and got his system, and I'll explain why I picked it up, and we'll go and test it here in another video. But when you go to, I guess it's Etsy, ETSY.com, it is a website that sells a lot of arts and craft things, and you will find this is where he sells his system that he made. Okay, and there is also, this is where I ran into other people, and these other two individuals do have videos on YouTube. There is Cartridge Kits, and he sells something very similar, but the only thing different, and I believe all of this is laser printed with the material, or however you, yeah, the print, 3D printers. This is 3D printed, okay, I believe, I'm not quite sure. But you got Cartridge Kits, which he is very similar with this, but a little bit different, and he offers a few other things that are different. And then there's another one called Mesa Winds, and he makes a block mandrel out of machined aluminum, okay? And what's the difference? If you wanted one of these little mandrels in a single caliber or single type, okay, they're like 20 bucks from our friend here, Guns of the West. And Cartridges to Go, same thing. He'll make something similar, his own little thing. And it's 20 bucks. They're like $40 for Mesa Winds, so bear that in mind. But you can go check it out. So let's take a look at what Guns of the West has got, and we'll discuss why I picked this up when I bought this little set here. And I bought his set of mandrels and formers. Okay, so what's the story here with this guy's system? Alright, so Guns of the West, like I said, I was looking around, and the one thing about it, these are the 4 different types of mandrels and sets he makes. 31, 36, 44, like for the Johnson & Dow, and this is with a W, it's 44 Walker, okay? So the unique thing also is on the top of each of these mandrels, he has a pocket which holds the appropriate, if you fill that with black powder or whatever, volumetrically it has the charge built in. You would take your funnel and fill your paper case. So pretty interesting compact system. Now what's different about him is he does these 4. Now the other 2 I mentioned, and the reason I mentioned them, is the other fellow that does this Cartridge Kits, okay? He does not do a 31, okay? This is where this Guns of the West is the only one that makes a 31 mandrel that I know of, and Mesa Winds. The Cartridge Kits makes 36, 44, and he makes 2 others that are not here. He makes a Ruger Old Army, a 44 Dragoon, and then a 44 Walker. Much like Mesa Winds also makes mandrels and dies for the Walker, Dragoon, 44, and I think Ruger Old Army also. And Mesa Winds makes a 31 caliber. So that's what the difference is, who makes what. And all that means is if you notice, the difference is the length of the die and your case. Yeah, your paper case. So how this system works, which this is a little bit different. If you look at Cap and Ball's mandrel system, and Crossan's cartridge former. How those work is you cut the template to an exact size, and then you have to line the template up on the mandrel pretty close, roll it, and that's it. Then the body's ready. You push it into the die and make the base. Pretty simple. This style and the other two that I mentioned there from Etsy, they use a little bit different system. What he does here is, if you watch the video, he just tells you basically to take, this is cigarette rolling paper, cut it in half, and then you just have a strip of paper. You would wrap it around the mandrel. Now if you notice, let me get all this out of the way. I'll use this one as an example. Okay, so you just cut a square piece of paper and you would put it on the mandrel, and if you notice, this mandrel has an edge to it. This is a raised edge. Okay. And what that's for is you take an X-Acto knife or a razor blade, and what you would do is you basically just roll the paper on anyway, as long as it's tight and together and on there. And then you would take your knife and trim both the front like that and go back to this edge in here, and you would trim it against the shoulder with the X-Acto, and then you would have the exact shape without having to worry about during rolling it making it line up or anything. As long as you got the tube tight in there, and if it shifted or whatever, then you would trim it. Okay, then again you make a little base, go through, get your base in, okay, and then you would take the paper cartridge out, put your powder in, be it filling this little thing in the back here, and you would dump it in, and then you take your bullet. And now what's different about this system, and all of these other systems work the same, is you do use the mandrel to trim the paper. You do not cut out an exact precise form, which is needed in the other two that I have. You cut this form out, and this guy in cartridge cases, he sends little dippers. So he's got this all set up that if you follow his instructions, put it in there with the type of bullet, and they're using Johnson & Dow, or they're using the Richmond bullet in the 36 calibers. And then what you would do is, with this on the table, flush. You got your powder in there. You glue the base of the bullet, put it in there, press it down. And then what you would do is lift this up and press it in further, and that would slip down. The paper case protrudes a little, and then this taper kind of helps you crimp the case to that base of the bullet. And it takes a little bit doing. When I demonstrate how this works, we'll go over that. But that is basically how this system works. And like I said, you can get individual ones if you only have the one gun. I am going to make paper cartridges for the Walker, the Dragoon, the 44, 36, and 31. So that is why I purchased this kit. But all in all, like I said, this here is 3D printed. The only thing I don't like is this got a little bit of roughness to it. But all that 3D printing is like that. Okay, and the mandrels. So what we're going to do, and that's the cost, and they're all similar, and that's how it works. The only difference between this system and the other ones is you don't have to worry about having an exact template and then trying to roll the template exactly straight on the mandrel. You know, when you use a system where you cut the paper after you roll it on the mandrel, the whole idea is to make it easy for you to roll it tightly on the mandrel. Then you do an exact trim. Okay, that's the one thing about this and the other two systems that is different than the other ones, that cap and balls and the Crossan cartridge thing. That's where these are a little different, and they all have variations. You can also get this in a complete kit, where he will sell you. Another weird thing is the bases, the little round bases. He'll cut them up and sell you a pack of 100 of them. And the cigarette paper, we'll go over that when I go and make some cases with this. But the cigarette paper is awful difficult to cut and work with. It's super thin, much like the hairdressing paper. So when you go there to his site, look around, you can get either these individually for each caliber. You can get the whole set, which I did. You can get, he charges like $100. I think you get two calibers, 44, 36. You get the formers, you get the bases that he cuts out. You get a glue stick. You get, he sells you everything you need to start making cartridges other than the actual rolling papers themselves. Okay, and each one of these except Mesa Winds. Mesa Winds only sells Mandrels and cutout forms. We'll go over that when I get them. I don't think he sells lubricant, and it's another thing, they also sell lube. He also will sell you a couple ounces in a tin can of his lubricant. So there are several other things you can buy from him from the site. Okay, you can buy a complete kit with everything you need to start making it. Other than the rolling papers, you can just buy these here. That's what he offers. So you got a lot of choices. But we're going to go and try these out. I'm going to see how easier using this method where we just roll paper and cut it as compared to trying to cut. I already know it's difficult to cut an exact template and roll it tight and square is not that easy for me. It could be for other people, but for me it's not. So this method of just rolling a strip of paper on there and trimming it to length then going might be the way to go and get a little bit more accurate body forming done here. Okay, so that's about it for the overview. And when I get some time, I'll probably start by making some 36s and then comparing this system to cap and ball system, what I ended up with. Stay tuned, guys.